So, what's a shadow self and what does it mean to do shadow work? Negative experiences are part of the human condition. We all experience negative events or situations or circumstances in our lives that influence us to some capacity, right? What your shadow self does is it takes those negative experiences and tries to create meaning out of them. So instead of letting that negative experience just be an isolated negative experience, your shadow self has attached itself to it and created an internalized belief about yourself or about reality based on that negative experience. For example, say you have an abandonment wound that's part of your shadow self. So you were abandoned very early on in your life by a primary caretaker or somebody who was very important to you. As a result of that experience, your shadow self has internalized the belief that there's something wrong with you, that they left because it was your fault, and that you're not worthy of anybody sticking around. And it's called your shadow self for a reason, right? Because you're not consciously aware of it, but it still follows you around everywhere and impacts everything you do, including the way you perceive reality. And in the context of the abandonment wound, that could show up in a million different ways, right? Maybe you have a lot of anxiety in your relationships because you're always expecting the other person to leave. Maybe you have really poor self-worth because you don't feel like you're enough for people to actually stick around. Regardless of how it shows up, it's toxic, it's unhealthy, and it's ruining your experience of reality. Now, shadow work is taking a flashlight and shining it on your shadow self so you can see all of the unconscious patterns and beliefs that you brought in from previous negative experiences that don't really need to be there. That way, you're not stuck in the past, you're not reliving the same cycle over and over and over, and you can have a much more pleasant and positive experience of life. So that's what your shadow self is, and that's what shadow work is. If you want to actually learn how to do the shadow work, I offer online courses that will teach you how to do that starting from scratch. Follow me on Instagram for more.